The cabin broke free from the spinning mechanism and slammed into other cabins. Several cabins crashed 50 feet down onto a platform below. Passengers were thrown from their seats. 6 people were killed. 10.
This is why you will never catch me on no scary ass ride. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Soldaya, and are any of y'all scared of rides? Because if you are, I'm gonna be reacting to the worst theme park deaths ever. So without any time waste, let's get right into it.
The Orlando Freefall.
Oh no, this one already looks bad.
On March 24th, 2022, 14-year-old Tyre Sampson visited Icon Park in Orlando as part of a spring break trip with his football team from Missouri. It was supposed to be a day of excitement and freedom, filled with rides, lights, and the kind of fun teenagers look forward to all year. That evening, the group approached the Orlando Freefall, a 430-foot drop tower and one of the tallest freestanding attractions of its kind in the world.
Holy bruh, you're not gonna catch me on this shit. This is why I'm always so wary of rides in theme parks, because really, anything could happen.
The ride slowly lifted passengers hundreds of feet into the air before releasing them into a near-vertical free fall, reaching speeds of more than 75 miles per hour before
Damn, I know he felt that in his chest.
breaking near the ground. Tyre Sampson was physically larger than most riders. He stood over 6 feet tall and weighed more than 340 pounds.
Damn, he's big.
The ride's maximum weight limit was 287 pounds, but no one weighed him or stopped him from boarding. When
Oh shit, yeah, I know how this is gonna go.
Tyre was seated, the shoulder harness was not properly secured against his body. Instead of removing him from the ride, the operator manually adjusted the seat, increasing the gap between the harness and the safety sensor. Despite the improper adjustment, the system displayed a green light, signaling that the restraint was secure. The ride was allowed to proceed. Tyre was lifted more than 40 stories into the night sky. Below him, the lights of Icon Park stretched out in every direction. Moments later, the drop sequence began. As the ride decelerated near the bottom, the sudden force caused Tyre to slip through the unusually large gap created by the adjusted restraint. Witnesses reported seeing him fall approximately 70 feet while the ride was still braking. He struck the pavement beneath the attraction and was pronounced dead at the scene.
This is gonna like make me not want to go to rides anymore, bro. Like, for anyone watching this video right now, I feel like this is gonna keep you wary about going on rides, because I know damn well this is gonna make me very wary about going on rides, because hell no.
The Ohio Oktoberfest. On June
We all know what goes down in Ohio, bro. This stuff's not good, so this one's already gonna be bad.
9th, 1991, thousands of visitors filled Kings Island Amusement Park in Mason, Ohio. It was a warm Sunday evening in the Oktoberfest section of the park. Near the German beer garden, a decorative pond sat surrounded by rope barriers. The pond contained a submerged aerator pump that kept the water moving. Around 9 p.m., 22-year-old Timothy Binning approached the pond. For reasons never fully explained, he touched the water. An electrical current shot through his body. The pump's wiring had failed, and there was no ground fault circuit breaker to prevent electrocution. The jolt knocked Binning unconscious, and he tumbled over the railing into the electrified water. His friend, 20-year-old William Haithcote, immediately jumped in to save him. The moment Haithcote entered the water, he was electrocuted.
Why would he do that, bro? He sees him be okay, you know what? I understand though, because he can't really see the electricity. He just sees his friend laying there in the water. So as a good friend, he goes in there to save him. But he didn't know that that'll end up taking his life too. Why did the guy go to touch the water in the first place though? But that's really unfortunate. Like, wow.
20-year-old park security guard Daryl Robertson saw what was happening and rushed to help. He dove into the pond and was killed instantly.
Yo, do they not learn? That's three victims now.
Binning survived with burns on his arm and neck. Haithcote and Robertson did not. Less than an hour later, another tragedy struck the park. 32-year-old Candy Taylor from Toledo was riding the Flight Commander, a spinning aerial ride where passengers could control their own capsule. Her blood alcohol level was 0.30%. As the ride spun, she passed out while her capsule was upside down. State investigators later discovered a design flaw in the restraints that allowed limp patrons to slip through the harness. Taylor fell 60 feet to her death. Kings Island fined $23,500 for the electrocutions. The day became known as Black Sunday.
All that happened on the same day? Nah, that amusement park better get closed down, because it must be cursed or some shit.
Adventureland incident. On August 31st, 2005, 45-year-old Barbara Brady arrived at Adventureland Amusement Park in East Farmingdale, New York. She was a resident of Central Manor Home for Adults and had come to the park with 24 other residents and 5 chaperones for a day of fun. Around 12:40 p.m., Brady boarded the Top Scan ride with one of her chaperones. The Top Scan featured 6 free-rotating gondolas that spun riders in multiple directions, including upside down. A
Holy, that seems terrifying.
horseshoe-shaped harness was lowered over her shoulders and around her chest. A park employee checked the control panel. A green light indicated all restraints were secure. The operator started the ride. As
Yo, these green lights be lying to people. Holy.
the gondolas began spinning violently in all directions, something went wrong. Brady's harness failed. She was flung from her seat at high speed, her body sailing over a 20-foot wall on the northern edge of the park. She crashed through the windshield of a car in the adjacent parking lot. Brady was pronounced dead at Middle Island Hospital Medical Center.
That's so unfortunate. No, imagine how much fear she must have been going through when she got flung above the building and she was just flying before she fell down to her death. Yo, that makes me feel so bad. Like, wow.
Accident came just 2 days after a park employee had been killed by a roller coaster at the same park. It was the second
Wow.
fatality at Adventureland in 3 days after 43 years of fatality-free operation. The Top Scan lacked seatbelts that other versions of the ride had installed. The Dreamworld tragedy. On October 25, 2016, 4 adults and 2 children climbed into a circular raft at Dreamworld theme park on Australia's Gold Coast. They were about to ride Thunder River Rapids, a water ride that had operated safely for 30 years. The ride simulated whitewater rafting, with rafts floating along a channel propelled by 2 large water pumps. At the end of the ride, a conveyor belt lifted rafts back up to the unloading platform. Earlier that day, the ride had broken down twice. At 2:04 p.m., one of the pumps failed again, causing the water level to drop rapidly.
That should have been your first red flag.
An empty raft became stranded on the conveyor belt, where the water was too shallow for it to float free. Operators failed to shut down the conveyor. The raft carrying the 6 passengers collided with the stranded raft at the base of the conveyor. The conveyor kept moving. The occupied raft was pushed upward, then flipped vertically. The 2
shit.
children, ages 10 and 13, managed to climb free. Kate Goodchild, her brother Luke Dorset, his partner Rusby Aragi, and New Zealand tourist Cindy Lowe were either trapped in the raft or ejected into the machinery beneath. All 4 died from crush and compression injuries. First responders described the scene as one of the most horrific they had ever witnessed. Dreamworld was fined 3.6 million Australian dollars. The ride was demolished the following year. The haunted
Wow, that is sad.
castle incident. On May 11, 1984, a group of teenagers from New York City arrived at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. Among them were 5 seniors from Franklin K. Lane High School. They entered the Haunted Castle, a walk-through horror attraction built from connected aluminum trailers with walls lined in flammable foam padding. At 6:35 p.m., a 14-year-old boy used a cigarette lighter to illuminate a dark corridor where a strobe light had malfunctioned. The flame touched a foam rubber wall pad. The fire spread instantly through the black-painted timber structure. 29 people were
Your first mistake, lighting a cigarette lighter in a place filled with foam.
inside. The attraction had no sprinklers, no smoke alarms, no emergency lighting, and no clearly marked exits. Most visitors saw the smoke and ran toward the entrance. 9 teenagers ran deeper into the maze, believing the smoke was part of the show. When they realized their mistake, they tried to find their way out in pitch darkness. They became trapped at the end of a corridor, pressing their faces against an air conditioning vent trying to breathe. 7 of them were found huddled together in front of a chained door they thought was an exit. It was actually a closet. 8 teenagers died of carbon monoxide poisoning and smoke inhalation. Their bodies were so
Holy.
badly burned that firefighters initially mistook them for mannequins. The park remained
Wow.
open that
Imagine how burnt your body must be for people to mistake them for mannequins, not even real humans. That's how you know the bodies were cooked.
evening, and a scheduled concert went ahead. Six Flags was acquitted of manslaughter charges. The families settled for $2.5 million each. The Splash Canyon
No amount of money is worth getting some of your children back, bro. Like, shit is really unfortunate.
incident. On May 9, 2017, 11-year-old Eva Janeth was on a school trip from Jamia Girls Academy in Leicester to Drayton Manor Theme Park in Staffordshire, England. She could not swim. Around 2 p.m., she boarded the Splash Canyon River Rapids ride with 4 friends. No teacher accompanied them. The boat was a circular vessel carrying 6 passengers through fast-flowing water. During the ride, Eva and her friends repeatedly stood up and reached into the water despite warning signs. When the boat struck a barrier, Eva was standing. The impact propelled her out of the vessel. She fell headfirst into water that was up to
That's why you listen to instructions. If a ride says, don't stand up, don't touch the water, You damn well don't know you shouldn't stand up nor touch the water.
To her thighs. She appeared uninjured and began wading toward the exit platform, trying to get back to her friends. A bystander shouted for her to stop. Eva kept walking. She tried to climb the ride's wooden travelator, but it was covered in algae and slippery. She fell off the side into much deeper water. Ride operators were not watching. The CCTV system only covered half the course.
Wow.
11 minutes passed before staff were alerted. By the time they found her face down in the water, 6 more minutes had passed. She drowned. Drayton Manor was fined £1 million for safety failings.
No, but the thing is, they told her specifically, don't stand. And the guy told her again, don't move, stay right there. She didn't listen. No, that's crazy.
The fine was never paid because the company had entered administration. The ghost train incident. On June 9th, 1979,
Ghost train incident, bro. This sounds like quite the story.
John Godson brought his 2 sons, Damien 6 and Craig 4, to Luna Park in Sydney, Australia. His
I
wife
don't trust no amusement park ride from the 1970s. I don't care.
Jennifer left the line to buy ice cream while John took the boys onto the ghost train ride. The attraction had been operating since the park opened in 1935. Cars traveled along a 590-foot electric track through a pitch-black tunnel filled with skeletons, monsters, and special effects. At 10:15 p.m., a fire broke out somewhere inside the ride. The exact cause was never determined. The structure was built entirely of black-painted timber with no sprinkler system. A design consultant had recommended installing sprinklers 18 months earlier. The recommendation was ignored. Some passengers smelled smoke but assumed it was part of the experience. By the time flames became visible, escape was nearly impossible. The tunnel was a maze designed to disorient riders. There was no emergency lighting. It took firefighters more than 6 hours to recover 7 bodies from the debris.
Holy.
John Godson was found with his arms wrapped around his 2 sons. 4 students from Waverly College, all
That's so sad. Like, damn, rest in peace, everyone here.
between 12 and 13 years old, also perished. Jennifer Godson lost her husband and both children while waiting with melting ice cream cones. A coroner ruled the deaths accidental, but found Luna Park had failed in its duty of care. No criminal charges were filed. Missing Bolts tragedy. On September 5, 2003, 22-year-old Marcelo Torres visited Disneyland in Anaheim, California with his best friend. They boarded Big Thunder Mountain Railroad,
That already sounds like a bad ride, like a ride I wouldn't want to go on.
a mine train roller coaster that had operated safely since 1979. The ride featured trains that looked like old locomotives racing through fake rock formations themed after the American Southwest. Around 11 a.m., their train entered a tunnel on an uphill grade. Unknown to anyone, fasteners on the locomotive's left guide wheel assembly had not been properly tightened during recent maintenance. The loose axle dropped and jammed against a brake section inside the tunnel. The rear of the locomotive shot upward, hitting the tunnel ceiling. The tow bar connecting the locomotive to the first passenger car snapped. Torres was sitting in the first passenger car. It slammed into the underside of the airborne locomotive. He suffered severe blunt force trauma to his chest, fracturing his ribs and lacerating his lungs. 10 other passengers were injured. First responders took an hour to remove everyone from the tunnel.
That's crazy.
Torres died of blood loss. Disney admitted the accident was caused by maintenance workers who failed to properly secure the wheel assembly. The company settled with Torres's family for an undisclosed amount. Part of the settlement established a memorial scholarship in his name. Falling from space.
That's so sad. Falling from space. What?
On June 29, 2010, visitors at overseas Chinese town East Theme Park in Shenzhen, China, lined up for Space Journey, a ride that simulated the experience of a rocket launch. 12 four-person cabins were attached to a central tower. During operation, the cabins would rise 50 feet while spinning at high speed, giving passengers the sensation of doubled gravity. At 4:45 p.m., approximately 40 people were strapped into the ride. The cabins began to rise and spin. Witnesses waiting in line reported smelling burning electronics. Then the power cut out. An explosion followed. Cabin number 5 had lost a bolt. The cabin broke free from the spinning mechanism and slammed into other cabins. Several cabins crashed 50 feet down onto a platform below. Passengers were thrown from their seats. 6 people were killed. 10
This is why you will never catch me on no scary-ass ride.
others were injured, including several with fractured bones and amputated fingers. It was one of the deadliest theme park accidents in Chinese history. Investigators determined a mechanical problem caused the cabin to dislodge, though the exact cause was never publicly disclosed. 11 people, including operators, maintenance workers, and managers, were detained for questioning. The park had passed a government safety inspection 3 months earlier. The Action River Incident. On July 16, 2017, 58-year-old Michael Stone arrived at Aquatica Water Park in Orlando, Florida. He was a resident of Jadade Personal Care Home in Savannah, Georgia, a facility that provided nursing care. Stone had a history of high blood pressure, strokes, and seizures. He was on vacation with 13 fellow residents and a certified nursing assistant. Around 2:50 p.m., Stone entered Roa's Rapids, an action river ride with fast-flowing water, swirling currents, and gushing geysers. He wore a life vest, as required for shorter guests. The nursing assistant said he seemed alert and healthy. The group completed 1 lap together. On the second lap, the assistant looked back and realized Stone was no longer behind her. She climbed out of the water and heard a commotion. Lifeguards were clearing an area. Stone had been found face down in water just 3 feet deep, unconscious. Despite wearing a life vest, he had drowned. The medical examiner determined—
How though? Isn't the whole point of life vests to keep you from drowning? Like, there's a lot of like air inside of it, so like keeps you afloat no matter what. How the hell did he drown?
He had passed out, likely from a medical episode, and the vest could not keep his face above water. It was the second death in Roa's Rapids. A 68-year-old British tourist had died the same way in 2010. The routine—
Yo, wouldn't that be a sign to like check your life vest, bro, to make sure that they actually keep you afloat above water? I think that would be a smart thing to do, especially after 2 deaths.
Inspection. On September 14, 2020, 21-year-old Jacob Kaminsky reported to work at Icon Park in Orlando, Florida. He was a maintenance employee for the Starflyer, a 450-foot-tall swing ride that spun 24 passengers at speeds of 45 miles per hour. Kaminsky had grown up obsessed with roller coasters, building toy versions in his basement as a child. He had worked construction on the Iron Gwazi roller coaster at Busch Gardens before landing his dream job inspecting rides. Around 7:40 a.m., before the park opened, Kaminsky climbed the Starflyer Tower to conduct a routine daily safety inspection. A coworker was climbing with him. Somewhere on the tower's interior, Kaminsky lost his grip. He fell backward approximately 40 to 60 feet, landing on an elevated platform below. Emergency responders found him lifeless. He was pronounced dead at Orlando Regional Medical Center.
That's so unfortunate. He got his dream job all just to die doing that same dream job working on roller coasters. Like, that's sad as hell.
OSHA and the Orange County Sheriff's Office launched investigations. The Starflyer had no history of violations. Friends said Kaminsky had spent years trying to land a job in the amusement industry. A GoFundMe page raised money for his funeral expenses.
Yeah, rest in peace, because that's like really unfortunate.
Sucked into the pipe.
Sucked into the pipe? Oh, hell no.
16th, 1985, a 14-year-old boy visited a large waterslide amusement park near Ogden, Utah, with his younger brother and 2 friends. The park had opened the previous year, featuring 6 water slides that all drained into a single splash pool. The pool was 4 feet deep. Beneath the surface, 3 12-inch diameter pipes carried water to a pump house, where it was recirculated to the top of the slides. The boy was hanging onto the pool edge, dangling his feet over the submerged opening of one of the drain pipes. Cast iron grates had originally covered the pipe inlets, but they kept falling off because the cement anchoring them had eroded. Park employees had simply removed the grates entirely. There were no backup safety features to prevent someone from entering the pipes.
First mistake.
The boy let go of the edge and disappeared. The suction from the pump pulled him horizontally through 93 feet of pipe until his body lodged in a 90-degree vertical bend inside the pump house. Lifeguards were on duty but powerless to help. It took 15 minutes to locate him. Resuscitation attempts failed. The cause of death was drowning. Investigators found the park performed no routine safety checks. It was one of the first waterslide fatalities reported to the Consumer Product Safety Commission. The accident led to new health department regulations requiring protective grading on all drainage pipes larger than 6 inches.
That's crazy. Like, wow.
Quick reminder, don't forget to use my Raid Shadow.
I can't lie, this just reinstalled my fear of crazy rides, bro. Like, you will never catch me going on a ride that's crazy. Like, I'm good because after watching all these videos of stuff that can go wrong on rides, I'm good, bro. Don't get me wrong, I can do rides that are like, you know, aren't that like crazy, right? But rides that are like 100 feet and they spin around at like 300 miles per hour? Hell no. You can miss me of that. But hey, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm gonna catch you on my next video. Peace.